For more than 1 million souls, Auschwitz was the end. A place where identity was stripped away, and numbers were tattooed in place of names. A place where the world saw the very worst of humanity. But this story isn't just about death. It's about resilience. It's about remembrance. It's about reclaiming names once lost in the shadows of history. This year, I traveled to Poland with the South African Jewish Board of Deputies, Professor Karen Milner and Mary Kluk, to document the 80th anniversary of the liberation of Auschwitz. It was a journey not only through a place, but through memory and through time. In a time when Jews have felt so isolated from the world, it was moving to stand side by side great world leaders, rabbis, diplomats, and most importantly, 40 Auschwitz Holocaust survivors. We were there to witness, to feel, to tell the stories of those who survived and those who never came home. In a place where prisoners were once remembered by numbers, we returned to remember them by name. And among the millions, I met two survivors, two human beings who endured the unimaginable and lived to bear witness. Their voices echo across time, calling us to listen and never forget. This is their story. This is our responsibility. This is remembrance.
This is my first time in Auschwitz. I came for the 80th commemoration of the liberation of Auschwitz as the chairperson of the South African Jewish Board of Deputies. It's a hard trip to make, and it's hard standing under the sun, knowing the pain and suffering of all those who entered through these gates. The weight of history is a heavy burden to bear, but it is incumbent on every one of us to bear witness. We cannot avert our eyes from the horrors of Auschwitz just because it is painful and far in the past. We stand here to remember and to commit to the saying that this will never happen again.
When we first got into Auschwitz, we walked towards Auschwitz. I think that was the most difficult part. I almost wasn't sure that I'd make it. I knew I would, but it was really so hard that I had to stop, and then I had to sit down, and then I got a wheelchair to go in until my body relaxed and so on and so forth. And that was really the most unbelievably hard time. After that, my daughter was there with me, helped me be, period. And everything was not easy, but it was all doable, which I was afraid would not be doable, but it was. Pretty terrible, though. My message usually is, mostly to younger people, learn about the Shoah. All there is to learn, and there is a lot, but learn it, and then use that to counteract any kind of anti-Semitism, anti-racism, anti-everything in the world, to make it a better one, and certainly never to permit anything like this to happen. Don't be a bystander, don't be quiet, raise your voice.
On January 27th, 1945, when the Red Army entered these gates, the world finally saw where the step-by-step progression of anti-Semitism leads. It leads right here. The gas chambers, the piles of bodies, and the horrors within these gates. But what led up to the Holocaust's final outcome? It began slowly, first when Jews were singled out in universities, excluded from jobs, with boycotts and attacks in the media. Yes, it began slowly, and then it happened all at once.
It is our hope that we will move forward, bound not by shame, but by a shared determination to honor the past through action. Action to fight anti-Semitism, action to affirm life, dignity, and respect for all people. Together we share the responsibility to ensure hatred, dehumanization that fueled the Holocaust are never allowed to take root again. We honor the memory of our 6 million brothers and sisters, not only by remembering, but by committing ourselves to rid the world of hatred. As we stand here together today, let this place not only be a reminder of the darkness of humanity, but a call to action, an inspiration to lead with integrity, to speak up against injustice, and to build a future for our children and grandchildren, for those 5-year-olds that we will imagine today when we hear from Tova Friedman, that such atrocities will never be imaginable again.
I was born in Gdynia, which is a suburb of Danzig, but my family comes from Tomaszów Mazowiecki, which is not such a small town of about 50,000 people, central Poland, about an hour from Lodz, and it was close to 50% Jewish before the war. There are no Jews in town anymore. Yes, I remember everything, but I was always in a war. There was never a before for me, since I was born in 38, so I was a year old. So I never knew life before the war, but I was in ghetto for many years, a terrible ghetto, then in a labor camp, and then the final solution, Auschwitz. So I have pretty strong memories, vivid, because my mother was with me and she talked about what was going on. She never hid anything from me. So my memories are quite strong. That's what I'm afraid of, that when I'm not here, they will say, oh, all those stories are nonsense. Children were killed they were gassed almost upon arrival. After about a month when I was sick, I have diphtheria and scarlet fever. My mother told me that later on. I didn't know diseases. And I survived without doctors, without medicine. So then they didn't take me back to my mother. They took me to a children's camp. And that's where I stayed until the end with I think probably most of my barrack was saved, because when they took us to the gas chamber, something didn't function. I really don't know what happened. Again, some kind of luck. To forget is to repeat. I'm not sure who I'm quoting, but I'm just saying, you have to remember, so hopefully that you learn that you can't repeat it. You have to stop what's going on in society before society reaches this level of deprivation, in a way. So that's one thing, is to remember and to teach in a way that you can't continue killing each other because there's something you don't like about the other person, about the society, about the person's politics, about color, about belief, about anything. You don't have to love but you cannot hate and destroy, because eventually you'll be destroyed also.
Or they can summon up the courage to stand up to these hatreds swirling around them. All of us have a choice as well. We can leave here and go back to our 50 different countries and assume it's not our problem. Or we can leave here united in our determination to stop this hate rising up in our world, united in our determination to guide our young people in the right direction, united as one.
They say time heals all wounds, but some wounds we're not meant to forget. We're meant to carry them. 80 years ago, the gates of Auschwitz opened. What the world found inside shattered our understanding of evil. And yet among the ashes, life continued. Survivors carried their stories through generations, so we could bear witness, even when they no longer were here.
וימליך מלכותי, ויצמח פורקני ויקרב בשיחי, בחיי חון וביומי חון, ובחיי דכל בית ישראל, בעגלה ובזמן קריב ויאמרו אמן.
Remember their names. Carry their stories. Be their witness. We are the last generation who will ever meet the survivors, the last to hear their voices firsthand, the last to say, I knew someone who survived Auschwitz. And from here on, it's on us.